Hello, everyone. Welcome again to my B2B tips to grow and transform. And I'm so delighted today. We have a very special guest with us. I will let Grace to introduce herself, and then you will know how special she is. Okay, there we go, Grace. Tell us what you do.
Hi,
Yeah. Mm.
I'm Grace Cameron from Sunlight Bookkeeping. So I'm a bookkeeper, but I started my own business because I wanted to work closely with people and help them understand their finances so that they could be successful in their businesses.
Wow.
Um, for me, I think business finances should be accessible, and every business owner should be able to understand what their business is about and be able to make educated and careful decisions rather than doing it off your bank balance when you don't know maybe what of that you owe to the tax office or what of that you owe to TradeLink or whoever.
Okay, wonderful. I think people may be wondering why I say Grace is very special because there are many, many bookkeepers out there, right? And there are many people just starting out their business. Grace hasn't been in this journey for very long, but I can see her dedication and love for the others to solve their problem from numbers. But there is a very, very special fact for Grace is that she's actually laying down at the moment. Can you tell us more about that, Grace? Yeah.
Well, I have a condition called POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, and it means my body doesn't regulate my blood pressure very well. So I spend 21 to 24 hours a day lying down, and I was told that I couldn't work because we couldn't rehabilitate my body enough so that I could sit up for long enough to get a job. I was told that I couldn't work, that I could go on a disability pension, and so I decided to start a business
Wow.
because I can do a business lying down. I can do a lot of things lying down. I still have a brain, and I still have my education and my history, and a lot of people with disability do amazing things out there. The yeah, I through my business I keep meeting more and hearing more stories.
Yeah,
Um,
that's certainly very inspiring because probably I haven't seen enough people enough. And then because you're the very first one I come across that you start a business with this courage, regardless of what your body condition is, you break through your own limitation belief, you can do anything. So is there someone on this journey inspired you or some family members or background that actually help you with that?
yeah, I've had a lot of help. I've had a lot of help. Um, I think actually my growing up, my mum's partner was entrepreneurial. He enjoyed starting businesses. So he would start a business every 2 years. He would build it up. He would get it profitable. He would get it like exciting and rolling, and then he would sell it, and then he would do it again.
Wow.
So he was really interested in the entrepreneurial journey, and he talked to me a lot about that. So I remember Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad and the board game that he used to play where you had to get out of the rat race, and other Tony Robbins, other people that he introduced me to from primary school and into high school. And
Wow.
then when, so I think seeing him just made me, I've seen the pattern, I knew how to do it, I knew that it was possible, but it felt like it felt like a lot because of my limitations. And I was given the support of Ignite, which is a not-for-profit organization that help people with disabilities. Ignite also help people, First Nations people and asylum seekers all start businesses because all three of us groups often have issues accessing employment. So they help people start businesses, and they gave me a lot of support during my planning phase before my launch.
Wow.
And least they still support me now to a degree with checking in and encouragement and things like that. And also now I support other people from Ignite as well. I teach record keeping lessons for people who are starting their businesses. So,
That's amazing, isn't it?
mm,
Amazing. During this journey that because you already started, you had someone inspired you, you saw the patterns in them, and you broke through your own limited belief. You believe you can do it regardless, and then you leverage the resource beside you to do it. So once you started step on into this journey during the growth phase, what was the challenges you were facing?
um, I think so. I launched in February,
Mm,
and I think it was I got a few clients quite quickly. People connected with my business model, and that my business model is ethical and supportive and about personal relationships, and they wanted that. So we got some clients, but quite quickly actually it became too much for me to manage. I was having some struggles with my heart, and I ended up getting a business coach because I realized I had the bookkeeping systems and I had the bookkeeping methods to be able to do that well, but there was more in the background behind a business that I hadn't had much experience of, and I hadn't created those systems so that I didn't have business administrations, marketing, sales systems documented and just ready to roll out and use. I had to constantly make decisions about those things. And
right.
I think it was about March or April this year, I realized I either needed help with this stuff or I was going to quit and get a job, because at that point, I felt like a job would be easier than a business.
Yeah, I know.
But given that I had trouble getting a job in the first place, which is why I started the business, so I got the business coach, and she helped me through some of those things, and she helped me conceptualize a few different things as well, which has just made a really big impact.
Right.
Yeah, and then look at where I needed that extra support.
Yeah, I think your journey is a bit the opposite to the others, because majority of the business when they start from front end to get the clients in, and yours is that you have a client, but now you want more support from behind to increase the capacity and create a system to grow, isn't it? It's a bit the other way around.
Yeah, it was the administrative tasks and all those like unbillable tasks that you have to do,
Yeah,
that I didn't consider the scale and the volume of them, with the with the growth model that I created. I grew faster than I could, given that I need to work part-time lying down um, from home. And so you need to, if you're going to grow fast, you want to have systems in place so that things can be rolled out when that happens, rather than have to make it up as you go, which is
right, amazing. I think that's a mindset shift as well, because a lot of people probably don't realize on the growing journey, other than become busy and busy, getting more and more clients, is more like a put everything align in a balance, isn't it? We have
yes.
things in, but we need to internally upgrade our own system to cater for that. So everything can go align with a good rhythm and a balanced outcome. So in saying that, you during last year and a half and you had a really good growth, and what would be the tips you want to share with the audience again about just a few things that you think the audience should maybe probably think about it or implement on it to break
um
everything? Mm.
well, this was a tip that came from my business coach, and she says it to all businesses. She doesn't just work with people with disability, but it really resonated for me having disability, and that was when you hear a piece of advice that you like, that you're interested in, instead of saying, I can't do that because of XYZ, you think, how can I make that work for me? And that has been brilliant for me because a lot of the time I do think I can't do that because of this. I can't do that because this is too hard. But so swapping to how can I make that work for me? It is a mindset change, and I can take elements of that piece of advice, or I can find other ways, finding ways around obstacles with that. And that's been a big change. I think the other one that I told you about earlier is my version 1 plan. I'm a perfectionist. And I think that comes with the bookkeeping territory. I like everything to be neat and right and correct and exact. But that can paralyze me a little bit, especially when I'm doing something new, like creating a marketing plan or writing posts for social media. I want it to be really good, but I'm not a practiced writer. That's not my skill. So I wouldn't do it. And thinking of everything as all I need to do is write version 1 really freed me up from that, because after version 1 you can write version 2. It's not about perfect, it's just about starting, really creating something to improve upon. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. So I've really learned that in order to really break through our own barriers to grow, is mindset is the biggest one, right? Is to shift that to make everything become possible and believing that everything is possible. And then the next thing is that you overcome our own personality, I would say, because everyone is different. Someone perfectionist like you, because it's your career, it's your character, is the feature of that industry. But instead of being perfection, you realize, be bold and to take the first step. It is very important to initiate something. So yeah, thank you so much for those tips. I think so lovely to chat with you. You know, we only have 15 minutes for this podcast. We want to make it short, sharp for the audience. So lastly, I want to ask you, do you have any shout out to the audience you really want the audience to know?
I think for me, my passion is that business finances should be accessible, that everyone should be able to understand where their business is, what their money is. And you can do this with your bookkeeper or your accountant, but if you can ask them to give you information in a way that you understand, whether they talk it through with you or if they can give you graphs rather than financial reports, whatever it is that you understand, maybe even a stoplight system, but having that accessible information so that you can understand your business, so that you understand what your money means and what you have to spend and what your profit margin is, how that changes over time. You can adapt, you can plan, you can be strategic rather than just react, and maybe even react when it's too late.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. I think everyone have our own genius, like what we do. Someone are really good at the numbers, someone really good at social media, let's say. That's totally to the opposite of genius. But I think understanding the importance of every element of our business, but don't have to be push pressure on ourselves and say I have to be perfect in that particular area. As far as we understand, and like what you're saying in your field is numbers, we can translate those numbers into magical things, isn't it? If we don't tap into those things, we will never know the power within those numbers, what they can deliver to us. So thank you so much, Grace. I think you're very inspiring. Your story will encourage a lot of people to break through their whatever condition they are, either body or mind or spiritual, whichever way, to make things become possible and leverage the resource around us and take the first step and become a better self along the journey. So thanks again for sharing your insights and happiness with us, and you go for it. All the best. All right.
Thank you, Joanna.
Thank you.